Hi guys, my name is Heather Rodriguez. I'm a natural fertility specialist and my team and I help couples who are preparing for conception. And today's fertility scope is going to be all about acupuncture and if it can increase your fertility and how to optimize it to use it for fertility. Hi guys, nice to see you. Welcome. Okay, so you guys, today we're going to be doing a fertility scope all about acupuncture. You haven't made it yet, Carrie? Okay. Let me know when you do. I'm curious to see how it goes for you. And this is going to be the link for if you are one of those geeky types and want to see all the research and everything for everything that I am talking about today, just go to this link and you can see all the research, you can see the studies and everything. For those geeky types, it's going to be bit.ly/F acupuncture. And that is at naturalfertilityinfo.com. Today's scope is going to be about acupuncture. And I thank you guys so much for all the hearts. They're so appreciated. And this is, I think, a really good topic for you guys who are on your fertility journey, because this is something you can use acupuncture regardless of what path you're on, regardless if you're going all natural, if you're preparing for medical fertility treatments. Acupuncture can be used with everything. So it's one of those tools that's really helpful. Here are some of the things that acupuncture can help with fertility. Reducing stress, strengthening the immune system, hormone regulation, increasing IVF success rates, improving sperm health, as well as decreasing the chance of miscarriage. So those are the main overall benefits of acupuncture, but there's a certain way that you need to do it, and there's a certain type of acupuncturist you need to go and see. So acupuncture, for those of you who've never had it before, is pointy little needles that will be put into specific parts of your body, and you lay there while the acupuncture is working and doing its thing. Different practitioners do it differently. Some will burn herbs on top of the tips of the acupuncture needles. Some will twist them. I had one acupuncturist that would twist them after she put them in. Oh my God, it was so painful. And some use electrodes. Like they'll use it's kind of like a pen, or they'll attach something to the needle and then they'll pulse it. And I've had all of the above. I've experienced all of those. And for most people, acupuncture is very relaxing. For me, I actually find it quite painful, but I think I have a overactive nervous system, because I actually haven't met anyone else that acupuncture hurts. So good news for most of you is acupuncture does not hurt most people. It's very relaxing. But the really cool thing about it is the effect that it can have on the hormonal system, and it can help to improve follicle stimulation and follicle response during your monthly cycle. It can help with FSH levels, LSH levels, progesterone, estrogen, all of these things. It can help and have an effect on your hormonal levels without actually containing hormones or doing anything specific to your blood levels of those hormones. And yes, it can help with ovulation. That's going to be the end result of it affecting FSH and LH, etc. So it can help with ovulation as well. So the thing with acupuncture, though, is it's something that needs to be done regularly. You can't just go and get one acupuncture session and be like, oh, that's it, that's all I needed, done. You're going to have to get it regularly so that it can continue to help to stimulate the system and increase circulation and all of those things. So once a week is pretty general recommendation for most people, I would assume. Talk to your acupuncturist, but you want to make sure that you are going to see an acupuncturist that knows about fertility acupuncture. So I've seen 3 acupuncturists, and 2 of them have been very well versed in fertility. One of them, that's all she does, is she does fertility acupuncture. The 3rd acupuncturist I went and saw was the most popular acupuncturist in town. And when I went into her office, I was like, okay, here's what we need to do. I want to help balance my hormones. I want to start preparing to conceive. And the woman goes over to her shelf and pulls out her acupuncture book, which is like this thick, right? You know, it's like a Chinese text, and it's just huge. She plops it down on the desk and is like, okay, let me see. And she's like looking it up in her book before she's about to start her session with me. And I was like, what are you doing? You know, so I actually got out of that appointment. I was like, okay, well, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. She had no idea where the points were for what she was needing to do for me. So there is a big difference. Just because someone does acupuncture doesn't mean that they'll know fertility acupuncture. So ask them, and ask them also the kind of patients and how many and all of that they work with. So, and she was the most expensive too. She was like really, really expensive. So I'm glad I found that out early on. So ask questions because there's a difference. And different acupuncturists specialize in different things. Some specialize in pain. Some specialize in sports therapy. Some specialize in arthritis. Some, so just ask a lot of questions to make sure that your monetary investment is going to the right person. So I'm going to share with you 2 studies that were done recently in fertility and sterility on acupuncture. And these were done during IVF cycles, but it's going to have the same effect if you're not doing IVF. It's going to have the same effect during a regular cycle. So there was the first study done, had 309 women in it. So that's a pretty good amount of women in a study. And they were between ages 21 and 44, and they were undergoing IVF, and they were placed in 3 different groups. One was placebo. The second was the second group got acupuncture 30 minutes after embryo transfer. So that means that the embryo has now been put into the uterus. And then the third group got treatment 24 hours before embryo transfer and 30 minutes after transfer. So those are the 3 groups. The success rates for those groups, the mock placebo group, which they got no acupuncture, had 21% success rate. The second group that only got it post-transfer of embryo was 37%, which is well above the median 30% that most people get quoted for IVF. And the last group, who had it 24 hours before transfer and 30 minutes after transfer, had 42% success rates. That is practically double the success rate, just from 24 hours before and 30 minutes after transfer. So this pertains to those going through IUI, IVF, and those who are going all natural, because all IVF is doing is, after they've stimulated the egg and everything, is taking the embryo and putting it into the uterus. When you're going all natural, that's happening naturally. So that's one of the main differences. But I think the results would be just as stimulating and supportive for those who aren't going through IVF. The second, and I thought that's huge. I mean, you're investing, if you're doing IVF, you're investing $14,000 plus. Some acupuncture is a good way to ensure your investment, right? Okay, so study 2. This is 273 IVF patients. And they again are in 3 groups. The first group is they got it right after. So this group got it right before and right after embryo transfer. Second group got it immediately before and after transfer. Okay, just a second, I read the same thing. Yeah, 42 success with acupuncture. And that was 302 or 309 women in that study. So this one was, the first group had it immediately before and after. The second group had it immediately after. The third group did not receive any acupuncture. So the group that did not receive acupuncture, this is the second study, 26% success rate. The group that received it immediately after had 36% success rate, and the group that got it both before and after had 39% success rate. So those numbers are a little bit different. It's a different study done on 273 patients, but that's still pretty substantial. So take it for what it's worth, but I think acupuncture is completely worth looking into. Someone was asking about costs before, and it's going to be different based on where you live. If you live in New York City, acupuncture is going to be a lot more than if you live, in a small town in Colorado and there happens to be an acupuncturist there. So it just depends on where you live. I, at the time, was paying, I think it was $60 a session. So it is an investment. From these studies, it was showing that they only had 2 sessions. I have seen other studies when they have had multiple sessions prior to starting their medical fertility treatments, that the success rates are even higher because of the stress reducing element. So something to consider. I think it's well worth being part of any program. I'm sorry, there's a question. Can acupuncture be harmful if acupuncturist is not a fertility specialist? I don't know the answer to that question just because I'm not an acupuncturist. I don't know. I'm not sure if they could do harm. I would think if it's that effective that they possibly could. They could have some other type of effect. I don't know. Sorry, I can't. That'd be a good question for you to ask whoever you're talking to. Someone was saying small town in Iowa. I live in a pretty small town, and there's a couple acupuncturists here. It's like really, really popular. The last town I lived in had 12,000 people, and we had 10 acupuncturists. So, do a search online and see who's in your area. and talk to them and see what kind of method they do and how much training they've had and how long they've been doing it and all of that. So in the town I lived in that had 12,000, one of the acupuncturists only worked with fertility clients, but she did drive to LA. She drove all these other places as well to keep her practice up. So what do you guys think of acupuncture? Have you had it before? Have any of you used it to help support your fertility? And if you have, what changes have you seen? I'd like to hear from you guys and see what you think about it. Is this something that you're considering adding to your program? Is this something that you've done before, that you've tried? How do you feel about acupuncture? Some people think it's kind of voodoo and they don't believe it's true, but there's just so many studies, and it's been done for so long, thousands and thousands of years, that it's really an amazing therapy. Thank you guys so much for the hearts. Thank you guys so much for joining me and for taking charge of your fertility and your health. I think it's awesome. This is a passion of mine and my team, and we work with thousands of people a month, thousands and thousands. So it's really cool to connect with you guys specifically and to see how you're doing and see where you're at and what's going on. So what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and sign out now, and I will catch up with you guys tomorrow. All right, have a good one. Bye.